21st Century is the Federal Advisory Committee that was appointed by the Secretary of the Interior. It's folks made up of across even the United States that sit on this committee, and they're an advisory committee only to the Park Service. So this is really.
I think that was in 2011, right? End of 2011.
Yeah.
So before Sandy, I know that.
Yeah, and then Sandy hit, and we were sort of postponed. So just happy to report on that, but check it out. Go on the website. Great information. All the meetings are open to the public.
I have a question, Mr. Hook.
Yes,
And I don't know if you know this or not. Is Brian now going to take that slot as borough administrator?
No.
Or is that you were appointed?
Unfortunately, the process, I say unfortunately, the process is it's not a nomination from the governing body or any such entity. We were nominated by various groups or whatever to sit. So right now, there's nominations that have been held up in Congress for about a year to replace members that have moved on. So we would strongly suggest that the next open round of nominations, a borough official, I can still serve in the capacity because technically, even though I was representing Highlands in one element, I was chosen because of my recreation background and an expanded view on the committee. So I will continue as long as I'm around to report to the governing body on that, and I'll keep you certainly posted on the.
And here's really why I asked.
Yeah.
Because Becky just brought up a great point.
I don't know that, I think they're having a census commission.
Well, it'll be relevant if it happens.
Yeah.
So potentially they're, what we say, downsizing or eliminating their fire service out there.
Yeah.
So guess who's responding? It'll be the borough of Highlands and the surrounding community. So now we're talking about one, say, building that there's residents in, a potential of 30 more plus.
Right.
So if they're gonna ramp down their services, because they have, what was it, an $800 million loss nationwide in the park services, so I get cutting costs and everything. But we have to make sure, and that's why I asked about Brian being on the committee also, we have to make sure that as that's happening and they're ramping up people being in there, and they're ramping down services, Middletown's getting potentially, all the benefits for with tax dollars, and we're not, Seabright, I'm sure will worry too, we're not handling all the
Seabright
services.
has expressed the same concern.
I hope so.
The Park Service has assured everyone on the committee, and we're separate from the Park Service, we're not an arm of the Park Service, that they're revisiting that because not only fire, but they know that they're going to need additional emergency services as well if that really takes hold. But what I would say at a minimal, and I know they can be boring, because I've sat at the meetings and they're 6-8 hours at a clip, but we only meet so often, that I would highly encourage a representative to be present. Middletown does the same now. They have members on the committee, but they have a governing body member or a member of the public that does attend
In the audience, right.
in the audience. But it is a lengthy stay, and some of the content is very, very boring, but it's well worth the efforts. And I'll make sure, as long as I'm involved, and at some point that I need to resign, my seat doesn't then go to someone else. It would go through the whole Department of Interior process of vetting and approval.
I
So
will tell you, it's come a long way from the beginning. Some of those meetings were so contentious. And they had developers on there, and it was just the wrong route. So I think they've come a long way with that.
I think either way, however we go, we just need to be cognizant and aware. I feel
But
like
that could happen.
they're ramping up and ramping down at the same
Right,
time.
one hand's not talking to the other.
And we're like,
us and Seabright and whoever else is gonna bear it.
And we obviously, we do that under mutual aid now, which
Sure.
isn't a big deal, but when you start having multiple rentals,
40
units,
more,
dwellings, and people
dwellings,
living out
yeah.
there, and then,
Sometimes keep an eye on
the
it.
Park Service has said they're fully aware of that, but again, we don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, you gotta make sure we do our diligence, that's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Glen and Highlands Lions Club event?
Yeah.
yes,
Mayor, in our
we'd like to
packets.
place an ad.
Oh, Carolyn has it, I'm sorry.
Is that for the Lions Club as well as number 7? Basically the same thing, right? Just two different organizations?
Correct.
Okay. And the ad we placed in the past, I think we spent $100. We put up another.
Yeah, the Lions Club is the $50 one.
Okay.
Right, Lions Club approach is actually down here at the center. Brian G. and I were here on a tour, and the gentleman from Lions Club came in, and they do joint things with the
Yeah.
Highlands Lion Club, so they asked if we would submit this into the borough for consideration.
Okay. Any thoughts at the table? $50 one-page ad, basically, I guess, put the Borough of Highlands on there, right?
Well, I think it's on placements.
It's on-
We'll
it'll be on the
insert
placements.
Oh,
that.
this one's placements, I apologize.
Placements.
Sorry, I shouldn't have.
I'll offer it.
By Mayor Nolan?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Card, Ms. Breon.
Yes.
Mr. Card.
Yes.
Ms. DeRigo.
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Do you want to jump right over to the other one?
Sure, Genevieve Foley, we've done this, I think, maybe we missed it a couple of years after Sandy, but we did it a lot. I think we did it at least 7 of the 10 years I've been here. It's a $100 one-page ad, and what we usually do is put obviously the names of the elected officials and Thorough of Highlands, and a link to our, our website, and from there, I'll offer that.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Wells. Ms. Breon.
Yes.
Mr. Card.
Yes.
Ms. DeRigo.
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes, I'd just like to say they help us a tremendous
Oh,
amount.
yeah.
They're constantly donating to this car.
Generally involved in both communities a lot.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes,
Okay, that brings us
to number 6.
Code enforcement report. At the last meeting, I believe it was somebody from the public had requested code enforcement revenue dollar amounts, and he had requested that it be prepared for the meeting. It is in the public packets.
Okay.
It is on the table. It's just to provide information as per the request from somebody at the last meeting.
Did everybody get a chance to look at it in the audience? Questions we can try to answer, I don't know if we'll have to, if not, we'll get the answers to it. We'll try to. Okay.
I just want to add to the code enforcement, they were probably going to be adding more to it, we just got to make sure it's legally vetted out, so we're not disclosing the wrong thing. I think we just got to give them fair opportunity to
Sure.
vet it out, so make sure nobody gets in trouble.
And as to Mr. Carr's point, as we're ramping up other things, I think there'll be a more expanded and more complete report going forward, and I'm sure Dave will have no problem with the SBU in the timely fashion to get the schedule. I'm sure there's no issue at all. And there's no issue putting that out there, as soon as in my mind. Anything else, or go public?
I have a question.
Okay.
There was one other thing in the package, a Chris Christie letter about communities.
Yes.
I don't know if we have to discuss it.
That was
in
just
the
to
packet.
let you guys
Okay.
know that we did do some findings.
Okay.
Okay, good. So we got moving.
Yeah.
Good. Public portion? Name and address, please, for the record, ma'am.
Carlos, 62 Bradley White Road. I just want to remind everybody that we're going to have a little free library and bench dedication from Tara Ryan on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to have one down here at the community center and one at the ceremony, which is going to take place at 11 o'clock in Veterans Park.
Thank you, Carl. Anything else? Okay, there was another handout from Carl right there on that.
Lori Nicholson, National Street. I have a question about R16-117.
Okay,
Does this mean that the town is not going to continue to explore the options for acquiring the permits with DEP?
I would say the majority at the table have spoken, and and the rule is, and the vote is to take it down.
We vetted out a lot of information. There's tons of information coming both directions. At the end of the day, I have to make a decision. And there's work going forward on getting the permit for the DEP only puts us in the permission to see if it can be legal. We still have a high percentage of the structure being voted down by the DEP and capital and saying we can't have it. So then what do? We spend all the money and the time and effort to go that path. More importantly is this, I've been approached by at least 3 different attorneys have said to me that just put it as notice, we will sue the town if it is not removed. So I'm making my decision on the financial benefits to this town, the cost of this town. It will be cheaper and easier for us to remove the project than have to put up a legal fight against 3 attorneys, because we did break the law multiple times.
And I think it's fair to say that there was no guarantee either way. We applied for it to get it or not as far as a permit, or to now we've gone forward and voted as a majority to knock it down, to get the appropriate stuff from, again, we mentioned there's some other groups involved, for that to happen in a timely fashion, if you will.
Right.
So I don't think anything happened tonight other than the majority voted to go forward with the process of knocking it down. I would tell you that there's gonna be at least 1 or 2 more meetings as the process, comes up, to have conversations and I guess with some type of update, if you will, of where we stand as far as the town goes.
That's,
Right, I mean, that's just common sense, it's nothing's gonna happen tomorrow like we talked about, but I think that the vote was tonight and by the majority to move forward with the process of taking it down. However, along and whatever path that takes us to, that was the vote tonight. So to your question, the answer is no, we're not, it sounds like we're not going forward with the permitting process. Like anything else, majority rules when you sit up here. Okay. Please, sir.
My name's Sal Capilupi, 313 Shore Drive. Just wanted to discuss, this might sound a little weird because I am the father of a young child, and my wife and my son, we're appreciative of the paving on Shore Drive. The crosswalk, I'm looking at the crosswalk getting put up. Then I see the rumble strips. It's a problem. As far as, I don't know if anybody else here is from the area, but, if there's somebody that would want rumble strips for people to slow down in a good crosswalk area, it's me. I have a 5-year-old
Sure.
son, right where these strips are. But there's two problems. Number one, they're not slowing anybody down. Number two, all hours of the night. You get that last hour of sleep before you have to wake up in the morning. It sounds like a propeller comes by, goes off. Come by, goes off. And you know how many cars come up that road in the mornings. So I'm not being ungrateful, I'm not complaining, but I have a suggestion maybe for people to think about it on the board. If you put yourself in the shoes of the people that live in that area. In the interest of safety, I think a speed bump would be better, or reflectors along the crosswalk so people know there's a new crosswalk there. Maybe a sign, something. But if the intention was to have people slow down coming into the crosswalk, it's not working. These people are going at the same rate that they were, and the only thing that's happening is that more noise is taking place.
We're clearly a speed bump would slow them down, as we did in other parts of the town
Okay.
where we had to address that issue. And I'm not trying to be smart, I'm asking for a reason. How long have you lived there?
Just over a year.
Okay, so they're actually we did that road the last time.
Okay.
This is what we talked about in executive session.
Okay.
They were installed then and had the same complaints, they wore down over time. Doesn't make it right,
Oh, I
just
see
give you an
what you
idea,
mean,
yeah. So, what were we looking at pursuing, and then again, I'm just speaking to myself, I don't know what anybody else wants. Pursuing the speed bump there, because it did work up in the hill when we did that up there, and obviously we had no complaints since then, we had the same thing. Gentlemen like this gentleman here with a young child playing in there,
We can certainly look at that.
can you bring us back some type of estimate and cost analysis of it? Does anybody have any other?
If the feedback will.
Okay, how about the next meeting?
Great.
June 1st.
June 1st meeting.
If you want to come
Like I
back,
said,
if not, you can watch it online.
we're very appreciative of the paving, very
Yeah.
appreciative of the crosswalk, everything. But I don't need to sound ungrateful by
I
any
don't think
means.
at all, I get what you're
Like I
saying,
said, it
we've done it
benefits
in
me
the
because
past.
I have a son that lives there. But as far as it's not slowing them down, all it's doing is making more noise.
And that's the goal, obviously, to slow everybody down. Chief, can you have somebody, I know the deal, I'm not trying to run anybody out of town, but I gotta take care of our residents.
That's like say excavating engineering, we've done before excavating engineering issue.
Because of what, fire trucks and everything?
Mhm.
Because of what, I'm sorry?
Well, no, just for the, you're talking about the speed bump in general.
No, I'm talking about slowing people down until we do the speed bump, if we do the
You're
speed
talking
bump.
about enforcement.
I'm talking about enforcement, my friend.
We have.
Can you just come up with something, you can.
But the guys are there. I mean, in all defense of the chief, the guys are out there.
Understood, right.
Yeah, no, they're doing a
Do
good
what
job.
you
It's
can,
just
obviously.
there's only so much you can do. That
Understood.
meeting hour, it's
We
just
talked about some things up near the schools, like signage and the ones that light up and say you're now doing this and the speed, so
Yeah.
maybe that's something we roll into
I don't know, like-
that conversation.
And the only other last thing I'll add, just for people to have it on record or whatever. I know the intention is to slow them down and also to let them realize there's a crosswalk coming. And, maybe those little reflector things that
Yeah,
go in
sure.
front of the crosswalk, something. I don't know what the codes
I
are,
agree.
but just, like I said, it just seems to be it's not slowing down, it's just making more noise.
I agree, and I think if we do, we're
Whatever.
gonna put it so it's illuminated.
Maybe
everybody
something,
sees it.
nothing expensive, nothing crazy, but they're
Minimal,
not doing the purpose, it's just the noise, that's all.
understood.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your comments.
Kim Spark at Shore Drive. I really wasn't gonna complain about the rumble strips, because I know they're gonna wear down, but I wanna thank my neighbor for bringing it up. There's a road, and every time I drive down it, I say, I have to get the name of this road. It's in Eatontown, and it goes past the school, and there's a speed bump every single block. They manage to plow in the winter, the speed bumps don't get damaged. I'd love a speed bump instead of rumble strips, but I've got so many other things that's still not on
We
my
put them in
radar.
town and they know from being here, we put them in other areas, and there's no issues with plowing or whatever, just make people aware of them when we come
Right.
forward.
And I just have a question, because it's an executive and it is litigation, I don't know if you can speak to it. There's litigation on the Shore Drive road improvement. Can we do anything in this town without litigation? Is there a major problem here? Is
There's
there a
no litigation that's
Possible.
anticipated.
So we're anticipating litigation and preparing and trying not to.
Has someone said, I'm
Let's try
gonna
not to get litigated
Yeah.
on, yeah. That's part of that conversation.
But has someone said they're gonna sue over something?
I don't really want to go too deep into it, but let's say this, we had a meeting on it, we talked about it as part of that meeting, and we're doing everything we can to not be sued,
Okay,
with the advice obviously of our lawyer.
okay, thank you.
You got it.
Mary Salzman, Snow Harbor. So now that the resolution is passed, what are the next steps? What should our expectations be? And I
Probably
was-
won't speak to that briefly.
There's a number of steps that have to go forward with regulatory agencies, and communications with them. I know the Borough Engineer is starting that process, and there may or may not be some issues involving the portion of the lease that's owned by private residents as well. So the resolution just authorized the employees and professionals to go forward with the process now and begin that and take the next step.
And will the gate remain there or?
Will
Yes,
be intentional.
such as it is.
I don't think that anything's changed in my mind on that, but I'm sure that you have to leave that up in my mind, because the liability issue didn't change as we voted to take it down. They may have increased it.
I'm not suggesting that you take it down, I was just
I
curious if
understand.
that was the plan. Okay.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Hill was looking into alternatives.
I just wanted to,
because it's not the best.
Yeah.
We did get a quote in today from a temporary fence company, and I'll vet that out for council, but something a little bit more stable, and that technically would not be the hazard that we created, so we want to get that done sooner.
Okay, so I have some non-related Tilda issues.
Sure.
And I don't really even know how I went down this path, but, the Pulte, property, was sold in 2015 for $9.798 million. And right now, they are paying approximately $64,000 in property taxes. The one lot that seems to have the $63,000 of the majority of the property taxes was valued in 2015 at $2.286 million, and in 2016, $1.39 million. I'm just wondering why that is and how it's possible to
Right, can
pay.
you talk about exactly?
Can you repeat that?
Really? I'm happy to.
There's been some changes, let's just say that, so.
Changes to.
Jenna, just repeat the round what you
Oh,
sorry,
sure,
please.
okay.
Just
So the property was sold and it's valued in the property tax records at $9.798 million. And the property taxes that they're currently paying are $63,550. The one lot that's valued at, was last year valued at 2.286, is currently in 2016 valued at 1.391. And that's where the $63,000 figure comes from. But in the property records, the value is listed at $9.798 million.
Now, I would say for years, and I'm not, by any means a tax assessor nor an attorney, but I will tell you, for years, there was no improvement on that land, because it was a
It's,
trail.
but it's just the land, we're talking about 6
I get it, I
acres.
understand, we were getting a 1.38,000 in my mind when I started up here for that property. And there is no improvement because there was
Right.
trailers and those are not by deed, they're by title, like the car, right? Okay.
but we'll investigate it further.
Something has changed significantly, I can't really go
Well,
any
I mean,
further.
there's a
but-
lot of, there are, block and lot numbers, there's 5 block numbers. I'm sorry, there's 5 lot numbers, there's 2 block numbers. And so it's really, just have to kind of,
If you want to furnish the block and lot number, we'd be happy to follow up with it.
I'll give you my
Yes,
little
that's-
note,
Sure, that's fine. We'd be happy to follow up.
And the other thing that I discovered while investigating this was that we actually have I think it's an ordinance, I don't even know if it's a resolution, that talks about property tax abatement when property is improved upon. And I'm just curious how that is communicated to anybody who is improving on their properties. So for example, our neighbor just just rebuilt their house in its entirety. And, the stipulation is that you you notify whomever, the government, whoever does this, within 30 days.
Within 30
30
days.
days of certificate of occupancy.
And you submit a request to the governing body on the ordinance, I believe it's 2-85.
But how would one know that? I mean, unless
It's in the ordinance, and it's also by statute and stuff.
so there's no one there's no, when they're applying for certificate of occupancy, there's no one that tells you that? Or-
Well, there's also not a blanket abatement in the borough, it's just set spots with lots of blocks in an area.
That's not the way it reads.
Okay, but that was the intention, I'm not, or I'm
Yeah,
arguing
no,
with you.
that's, but
That was the intention of it, and the abatement, just so we're all on the same page, does not include the land, just the improvement, because there was no
Mhm.
on the designated places.
I know,
I'll send you an email with all the.
Mayor, I'll bring that up with the building department, because I know their packet, they should have in their package of information.
It's significant.
I know Paul does communicate it to, I mean, it's not part of it, I'm sure he
Right.
does too, like everybody else. Not that we want, we need the money, but.
Yeah, and I understand
But we
that,
need to be taking, a homeowner should be taking advantage of it, because it's a good program.
It's out there,
It starts with Paul Vitale and he presses over the tax assessment, it's a great program. So if you are doing renovations, take advantage of it.
And this was pre-Sandy that we did this, and
Right.
this was, I would tell you, at least 12 to 15 meetings between planning and council. But this was in public meetings and vetted out, and
but it was 2012.
it was pre-Sandy for sure, I know that. I don't know what the final vote was, but it was
Okay.
definitely pre-Sandy, and Sandy was October 29th, so it was pre-Sandy.
Right.
Anything else, Rebecca?
That's all.
Lori Nolan, 65 Snucker. I just want to inform everyone that on Saturday, May 28th, in the borough of Highlands, we will have our Highlands Memorial Day Parade. The American Legion will be having their little ceremony afterwards at Veterans Park. So if you could, please come out at 1 p.m. anywhere along Bay Avenue, show your support, and then at Veterans Park, there will be a ceremony at the end, so if you could come to there, just please spread the word.
Starts at Huddy, right?
It starts at Huddy, goes down Bay Avenue to Veterans. If you're around, obviously this parade is not
Historically not well attended.
exactly, and it's pretty sad that it isn't, but if you're around, please, come out and support, show your support, and then afterwards, the American Legion always has something at their location as well.
VFW usually does something.
Yes, they're involved as well.
Thank you.
Second of all, thank you. Also, could we, I know it's been brought up the last time, but the corners of Bay Avenue and Shore Drive and Waterwitch, that little parcel there, the yellows I know are not there yet. I don't know if and when they're going to be coming.
Where no parking is designated.
Yeah, but there's also, how do we say it? We need to enforce desperately. Someone is gonna get hurt. If it's not a kid, it's gonna be an adult. Someone is gonna get
So to
hit.
give everybody a scenario, what we see in the morning on, the rare times I'm home to take my children to school there, and I'm sure anybody that drives by or walks by will see the same thing. We don't wanna discourage the grab and go, if you will, business that we have on that main road there, so the coffee house and the other places. But people are parking so far into the curb that there's a line of sight issue, because so many of our children walk up, and then you have people making that left turn coming down, and they're banking at about 20 miles an hour. Let's be real, and I'm sure someone in the back will agree with me on that. So there's going to be a very small opportunity if you have, you saw my little girl, and she doesn't go there, but children that size are going to be really tough for any driver to see them, especially if there's an SUV parked to the end of the street there. But to your point, we can say, Chief, but we have to paint these curbs, Tim and Brian, we can't do it because it really is a potential disaster. There's a lot of things that.
And soon you're gonna have the farmer's market coming
There'll
in.
be a lot of
It's
things
very
happening,
busy
yeah.
around that park. And people are just parking extremely to the corner and running in and getting their goods and
And I feel
running back
uncomfortable
out.
taking in people without the lines being painted, because I know I'd be upset too if you didn't tell me, and that's obviously I would tell people. And I know there's things being worked on at the school with Suburbans here, and a couple of folks at the council table are involved too. But I think that it's such an easy thing too, it's a low-hanging fruit to just get done and do the right thing. So if we could address that, it'd be good, because we really don't want to see any kid, we don't see anybody get hit, but we definitely want to see a kid get hurt just because we didn't paint the curb.
So I have one question, if we did that, and I don't know if we've explored this, doing it down Bay Avenue as needed? Because I know I have that problem all the time on Miller too. Like, you know, it's so crowded down there between Porcini, the yoga
For good
place.
reasons, exactly.
I mean, it's all great, but, I mean, 9 times out of 10, I won't make that left, I'll just go right, because I don't wanna go all the way out to the middle of the street to make the left. You know, by the time you're out there, it's too late, so
Yeah.
you just go the other way and loop around.
Especially with the summer coming, so many more kids are walking, and it's not cold, you know what I mean? That's-
So, I mean, it's not a bad thing, it's great that everything's so busy, but,
Kids in their bike.
I don't know if we would incorporate that because Bay Ave's all county road, or how we do that.
Let's get the crosswalks done first if we can near shore and, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know, I'm just asking.
And go forward, maybe come together. Maybe put together a schedule.
Well, you could also get the, you know, we used to get the county.
Well, that's
come
what-
out
That's what
there,
we're talking about, yeah.
Let them come and yell, you know.
But the first step is us telling them, hey, we need this done, that probably hasn't happened, so let's get that together if we can on the plan, right guys?
I'm sure there's Officer Burke.
Army of
Well, we could
volunteers to
also,
help out.
I mean, we could also maybe ask the businesses that are there, you know, please try to just, and I know it's hard, but just ask the people not to.
I think the first step is obviously painting.
Because our own professional.
Identifying where they can and can't park.
They're parking there,
Yeah,
so everyone's breaking the law.
it's a great idea, but we've got to have the first step, obviously. Guys, can we get together some sort of plan and,
Joe, you're on that with me. Making sure we mark it out so it's clearly identified and no
You
issue.
gotta buy a lot more paint.
okay.
We got 12 gallons ready to go.
How long?
It's well worth.
Yeah, Ms. Bucko has some from there. Maybe they can get jail credits in case they do it again, right? Anybody else have any questions? Please.
The oil can. My name is Frank Shanigan, 15 Cedar Street, also known as Honeysuckle Lodge. 2 years ago, we were doing a renovation, and we got a stop work order. We were told that we needed a variance. We got the variance, it was okay. It was a stipulation in regard to a positive floodplain review.
And that came from our zoning board? The stipulation, the variance came from our zoning board?
Yes.
Just so we're all on the same page.
We've done everything we can, writing letters, to approach FEMA and everything else. We've had no luck. I'd just like to appeal to you people to help me come up with some sort of way of getting this renovation finished. It's been 2 years. Lots of time, lots of money.
Sure, yeah, we don't want to hold up, obviously.
Taxes, everything. So.
Okay, let me just refer to one of my professionals, please.
Sure, and Mr. Shady has been down to see me numerous times. So if you recall, last year, we approached council. When I say me and Mr. Shady and I, the council supported his concerns, and it was decided to write a letter to FEMA asking for Honeysuckle Lodge as a tract, as a group, to be taken out of the NFIP consideration, knowing that they will not get any kind of FEMA assistance, God forbid there's another flood.
Sure.
They won't get any assistance moving forward, but they want to be held to the standard, because of the trouble being that if they stayed in the system and the borough allowed them to not elevate in the case of Mr. Shanigan, that could go as a black mark against the entire borough in the NFIP rating system, right? So council passed a resolution on that, I believe it was a resolution. I wrote a letter to FEMA as your floodplain administrator. I know Honeysuckle Lodge wrote a letter signed by various members of their board in support. That went to FEMA. FEMA came back with a determination that no way, we're not taking anybody out of it. Everybody's in. It's a structure. It's being occupied, even on a part-time basis. Everybody's has to comply with the FEMA guidelines. I actually took FEMA down there, and we walked on.
Someone showed up, representatives
Yes,
of FEMA,
absolutely.
okay?
And walked them through the entire complex to show them exactly what Honeysuckle Lodge is about. As a bungalow community that's only really occupied seasonally because of the way they're set up, and mostly on the weekends for the most part. Hoping that would help them make a decision. Decision came back, it was just a flat out no.
Okay, so have you seen this? I know you obviously represent other towns. Have you seen this in any of the major towns? like this where there was a different, I'm trying to come up with a solution.
Yeah, no, I
Where
understand.
we're not hurt and they can go forward.
Maybe we can ask Brian too, because he's
Right.
a ship bottom. Is there anything in LVI?
They didn't like that down there?
that's similar to this? Not that you've seen honeysuckle yet, but.
Yeah.
My question, is simple, is you're not, no town's gonna be 100%
I agree.
What happens if we leave and say politely, no, we're gonna allow them to do what they need to do to maintain the historic value of what Honeysuckle Lodge is. Yes, that will be a negative check against our scorecard, but will it give us a 99 grade versus 100?
And can we strengthen our hand in some sort of use of our zoning as far as,
Right.
what it is, or what do you think, Brian, do you think that possible?
I'll look into it.
Can you give us 2 weeks, sir?
Absolutely.
I think the flavor of the council, and I'll only speak for myself, and it sounds like that, is to go forward and try to help you out and do what we have to do, as long as we can protect, obviously, the interests of the rest of the town. And I agree with Doug, I mean, if this is the only place, there's 1 or 2 others that are not compliant, I can't imagine that.
Well, I think we should identify them.
So, yeah, that'll be part of the process, but.
Because I've worked with it and been involved with it, we've identified it, and it's down at, believe it or not, Honeysuckle Lodge, the little bungalows, and then, where you live, Carla? Gravelly Point, that's it. And Gravelly Point's pretty much compliant.
Well, Fifth Street.
Fifth Street, well, right, yeah. So
Maybe there's something we can do with use of zoning or designations or something in the
think
letter of
I'm-
law that.
Designations.
Yeah, so maybe there's something we can go cite that, backing it up, yeah, you know what I mean?
But I think no matter what we do though, they're still gonna say non-compliant.
That's fine, but at least we'll go down that road and try to come up with something, if not, I think we gotta go forward with help.
Yeah, just say bump the system on that.
So Brian, if you can tell us by next week what you find, and we can decide, via email one-on-one to you, what we wanna do for the first, and there's gonna be some type of game plan going forward.
I'll work with Dale with the that's it.
Okay, everybody okay with that? Absolutely. Good. Okay. Give us 2 weeks, and we'll try to come up with something, but sooner, obviously, we'll contact you, email or call.
Great, thank you very much.
I see a green arm in the back. Carla. yeah.
I just have a question about policy 62 Garden Road. So isn't the 3-foot setbacks required for our bungalow colony the same?
Matter of fact, I think you guys signed off on your own colony. Yeah, it is. You
Yeah, we have
signed off on it.
I would imagine.
But it's the elevation, it's not the setbacks, it's the elevation. Okay.
This is not apples to apples.
Yeah, we want the zoning.
This is a FEMA floodplain issue, as opposed to what.
At Honeysuckle.
Charles told us, right.
It's about not lifting, Carla.
Yeah, it's not about the distance between, it's the height.
Right, and this is, I think, a unique scenario, maybe 1 or 2 others in the town where we just kind of gotta do what we gotta do, so we don't help out indefinitely. While we wait for these floodplain maps and all those other things to come out over here and they're out.
We may have to unfortunately take the negative score on that one.
Exactly, and that's just the right thing to do.
Right, I'll work with Brian C on that, and Brian.
But Brian, we're gonna go that route, let's prepare for whatever it is, a resolution or an ordinance, introduction to the next meeting. Okay? Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Ms. Bucko? No? I know, I'm looking at the tiger. Motion to close, please everybody come out to the Memorial Day Parade, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Chair.